More of your questions and comments at home this evening is to talk about why you should always use bank finance to invest in property. I want to hear from you at home, some of your reasons why you prefer bank finance, especially when you do have the option to buy cash. Because I think one of the realities is that many of us very likely don't have the means to buy or finance a property cash, and that's why we opt for bank financing. So if you do have the option of doing both, why have you opted for bank finance? What have been some of the ways that you have found to maximize the home loan facilities that you have with the different financial institutions? We've got a comment here coming from one of our top fans on Facebook, Howard Mukatsane. Love this comment. He says, the only time it makes sense to use cash is when you are buying a quick flip and you're avoiding, first, bond costs, second, you stand a better negotiating chance, and yes, you can also avoid the transfer costs by taking occupation immediately, flipping the house and allow the person buying it from you to pay the transfer fees. So that would be a back-to-back transfer, and also avoiding buying properties above the capital gains tax. And that's such an important one. And I think Howard will probably explore, and maybe Eko, actually you can briefly explain the back-to-back transfer, because I know that some of the viewers probably haven't encountered it before. I mean, there are always different creative ways to make sure that you minimize the costs for yourself as an investor, and other people are able to fit the bill.
Yes. Okay. So even that, with what she's saying, it's a smart way, and I agree with her totally. I'm just going to add on because everything she said is perfect. It makes sense.
Howard is a he. Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm saying Howard is a he.
Oh, it's a Howard. Oh, Howard. Yeah, I know Howard. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he always makes smart comments. So Howard, so what perfect sense. What I will add on in terms of the back-to-back, for example, when I go to, and we do a lot of deals at the auction, where again, we put down our own 10% at the auctioneer, we give that the money, and we find, and that's what Howard is saying, you do a flip. So you're finding another person to buy your property, right? So once you've done it that way, it becomes a back-to-back. So what I do that, let's say, Eko has bought a property from an auctioneer. Then Eko finds Joseph to buy the property. So Joseph then goes to the bank or whatever, even if he wants to buy cash, it doesn't really concern me. Goes and gets that money. What I've done is that if I bought the property for 100,000, I've put down just 10,000 plus auctioneer's fees, which will take me to about 15,000 rand. And then Joseph will then foot the bill, including the legal fees. Remember, because I bought the property for 100,000 rand and I'm selling to Joseph for 150,000 rand, I've got net profit in it. That net profit then gets used to pay off the legal fees. That's what I'm assuming that's what Howard is saying, to pay off the legal fees. So you've just put 15,000 rand and then you come out on the other side with about 35,000 rand. So you've made 3 times your money. And that's how you do the simultaneous back-to-back transfer, by flipping.
Now, Eko, I want to find out from you, what are some of the mistakes should we avoid when we are using bank finance to obviously, finance our property investment?
So some of the mistake is, again, it goes back, do the numbers, understand your financial position. Don't take up too much just to impress other people. So the bank says to you, you qualify for 3 million. You need to have your own budgeting, your family budgeting, your personal budgeting, to know that the 3 million, I cannot use all of it. Even if I'm doing an investment, somebody must pay for it. So if you're doing that for investment level, I always say, tenant must pay for it. If you're not breaking even in terms of the bond repayment from day one, don't do the deal. That is one side. On the personal level, make sure that you've done your homework, you're comfortable in your skin, so that you don't overrun yourself or you don't stretch yourself too much. Those are the advice that I will give. And also, again, get the bank to reduce your interest rate. That is crucial, or give you better terms. That will give you even if the interest will be over a longer period and people will say, yeah, you pay 2 times, 3 times, that's good. But remember, if you take a bond with a flexi account, so flexi account is something that allows you to pay in more onto the bond. So anything can change. I always say, take the conservative approach. If a bank says we can give you 30 years, Echo will jump on it. I don't care about the 20 years because I don't know what's going to happen to me even tomorrow. I don't know that. I've done all my homework, but I don't know what's going to happen to me tomorrow. So if I can take as less as possible, if my obligation is as minimum as possible and things turn around, I can put in more. So I always say, don't go for a higher price, go for a minimum as least as possible repayment structure with a bank.
Mm-hmm.